Welcome everyone. My name is Asna Javed. I am hybrid manager for ICM. Today we are going to talk about tackling bias in artificial intelligence. So I believe कि आप सारे जो है already artificial intelligence के sessions attend कर चुके. So you have like a better understanding what AI is, how it is impacting the world, what's happening. If you have noticed that in recent years, it's a very increasing issue that the artificial intelligence is considered bias, right? And it is in some cases, and I'm going to share a few of the examples with you guys today as well. So today we're going to talk about how we can tackle the bias in artificial intelligence. We'll be talking about some of the tools that you can use to, make sure that your products or your AI platform is unbiased or it's fair. So we'll be talking about those and also different areas where we can improve ourselves and make sure that the AI that we are dealing with or we are developing is unbiased. So let's without further ado, let's move. And now we all know that AI is changing the world. We look around and everything we see is an AI. Our mobile phones are artificial intelligence. We have artificial intelligence in our cars, in our home systems. So honestly, it's like an integral part of our life now. So AI is actually changing the world, and let's move further and let's see. Now, when we're talking about the AI is, right now it's being used in many decision-making applications, right? For example, they are working in credit companies. We are using AI for employments, for hiring purposes. We are using AI for admissions. We are also using now not really in Pakistan, but in the world, like mostly in United States, they're using AI decisions for sentencing and making, the cases, and they're also using the AI in healthcare. So, the growing use of artificial intelligence in like sensitive areas, as I mentioned, that was including for hiring, criminal justice, healthcare, it has, started a very, you can say, a debate on bias and fairness. Like a lot of people think that okay, because they're using AI for criminal justice or for sentencing people, probably it's really biased, and somehow they're not really fair decisions. Yet human decisions making in these and other domains, you can say, can also be flawed, obviously, right? But these all biases are basically shaped by the societies, and they're often unconscious biases. So sometimes we don't really know that we are having a bias for someone, but it is unconscious. So it's like, for example, being a woman, I would somehow unconsciously support more women, though I try my best to be unbiased and make sure that everyone is equal, but somehow we have these unconscious bias going on. So we're also thinking that okay, so since humans are behind these AI, these AI products or these AI platforms, so are those AIs biased as well? So the question, again rises: will AI decisions be less biased than human ones? Which is a very very good question. But thinking about it, the fact that humans are the one who are actually developing these AI products or AI platforms. How does that work? So this basically, it presents two different opportunities, or you can say two different concepts, right, in this debate. The first one is basically the use of AI to identify and reduce the effect of human bias. Basically, the first, as I said, the first one is basically identifying and reduce the effect of human biases in the AI platform. So in many cases, as I mentioned here in my example, is that AI can actually reduce the human bias, right, when it comes to the data, because machines are they're based on algorithms, right, and those algorithms are they're developed to learn and consider only the variables, right? So hence that improves the predictive accuracy, and it based on the data that is used for training them. I also, added a quote of Andrew McPhee. He's from MIT. He's a pretty famous data scientist, and he has done a lot of work in AI field. So if you want the bias out, get the algorithms in. So that's what he believes. He believes that the algorithms are basically that can eliminate the bias from the AI decisions and from the human decisions basically. But the second opportunity or the second debate or the second point is that maybe the underlying data that is being used for uh, training that AI can be a source of bias, right? So underlying data rather than the algorithm itself are most often the main source. So basically, probably the algorithms are not the reason, but rather the data being used can be an issue for the bias. So, like for example, I would like to give a very very good example here is that some evidence shows that the algorithms can improve decision making because it became like they think that it is like a fair progress. So but a very famous example of I believe John Gilbert and others have shown that algorithms they can help with the reduction of racial disparities in criminal justice system. The algorithm, this is the one that is supporting the algorithm, right? And then there's another study that was that was done, and they found out that the automated financial underwriting systems, they particularly benefit historically underserved applicants, right? So again, not sure that are the algorithms really fair or not, right? So these are like some of the things that arise a lot. Um, so if you move further, and as I said, that maybe the data that they're using is probably the issue, right? So for example, maybe the we have this word embeddings, right? Like it's a such set of natural language processing techniques that is trained on news articles. So it may exhibit the gender stereotypes found in society. Bias can also be introduced into the data through how they collect the data or how they select the use of data. So if let me just talk, if you just take an example of criminal justice models, right? So oversampling certain, if they oversample certain neighborhoods because they're over policed, right, can result in recording more crimes, right? So then, for example, like at one particular area in Rawalpindi has lots and lots of police, right? So they probably record more crimes than the areas which have less police force, right? So that would like result in more policing in that area, but it would also, somehow the machine will think that this area has more crime rate. Probably it isn't. The reason is that they have more police force, and that's why they're able to record all these information. So again, it can be a bias in that way. So yeah, these are like some of the things that can come in AI. So if you move further, now a very famous quote, and I totally agree with this, is that responsible AI is basically the solution for this. So responsible AI focuses on ensuring the ethical, transparent, and accountable use of AI technologies in a manner consistent with user expectations, organizational values, and societal laws and norms, right? So when you're actually developing something, you need to be, as a developer, you need to be more responsible. When you're using a data, you need to understand where the data is coming from, whether it is from a particular societal area, it is for a particular organization. Would this be fit for the end user, or would this be not fit for this particular end user group? So we need to be very responsible when we are developing these AI models. So if we move further, let's talk about why I'm talking about responsible AI, right? So again it's mostly it's like an ethical debate as well, right? Whether it's a right thing or a wrong thing when it comes to high stakes AI applications, right? or such as autonomous weapons or surveillance systems. For example, for me, I would say that surveillance systems are good. Is the right way to manage people or take a look at what's going on. But in terms of some well, it might Ashim, I'm background.
Asna, I think your audio, your audio is cutting out. Can you check your mic or maybe audio settings, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. All right. So yeah. So when we are talking about the responsible AI, right, the transfer of human bias to AI system is also a very very big possibility, right? So there's an outpouring of concern. People are thinking that whether the AI systems with human ethical judgment have like good values or what's going on there, can be difficult for code to code in softwares. So these are like some of the things that people think that, okay, if you're using the responsible AI, why you should be using it, and then what things that you need to be considering. And then there's like the news about AI bias, right? It is also like numerous instances of AI bias. Are there discrimination is going on, and there's some privacy violations have already littered the news. If you look around, you will find a lot of news that will tell you that, okay, this is what happened, and I'm going to share some of the examples with you in a while. So if you go, yeah, so here we are. And like these are like very famous newses, right? So the Apple Card, it didn't see gender, and that's the problem. So the Apple Card couldn't recognize between a male and a female person, right? Then MIT researchers, they're exposing bias in facial recognition. Tech triggers Amazon's wrath. So Amazon's facial recognition was so biased, they couldn't recognize between a person of color and a white person. So the person of color was not being recognized. So it would only recognize a person, a white person. So that's like a pretty racial and biased kind of uh, AI going on there. Then Amazon created a hiring tool that was using AI. It immediately started discriminating against women. So these are some of the things that we need to consider when we are actually developing our AI system. So hence there is a bias in AI, and it is a very alarming thing, and we need to focus on this. Let's move further. Now, if you're going to tackle the AI system, so there are 5 focus areas for tackling the bias in AI, right? The first one here is accountability, right? So accountability is basically the people who are designing or developing the AI platforms and the services or the products using the AI should be accountable. They need to be responsible when considering the AI design, development, decision process, and outcomes, right? So if I am developing something, I need to make sure that my product should be an inclusive product and not be a biased one, right? Uh, Okay, so we need to make sure that when we are, and then we need to have to focus on the value alignment. We need to make sure that when we are designing our AI, it should align with the norms and the values of the user group that you have in mind. For example, if my product is for just a very simple example that probably you guys would understand as well. So if I am developing a student portal system, right? I need to make sure that my end user, that are the students, it should be for them, right? And not, I should be thinking of from their perspective and not my perspective. Like what would help them and what things that students would want to see in their portal and not what I want them to see. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind while we are developing our products. There should be like an explainability, right? So AI should be designed for humans to easily predict, perceive, detect, and understand its decision process, right? So it shouldn't be like something very complex that the person who are using it cannot understand what's going on in this. And then there should be fairness, obviously. It should be, again, as I said, that it should be designed to minimize bias and promote inclusive representation. The example that I gave you, if I'm developing a portal for students, it should be focusing on students and not on me or the teachers or the faculty, because students will be the people or the person who are going to use this product. And then I should be more, I should not have a bias in that product, right? And I have to be fair for this. And then the user data that you're going to use, the user data for training your products or your model, it has to be the right data. It has to be an unbiased data. Must be designed, and then AI, it should be designed in a way that the data is being protected and not not use the end user's data, rather than use the data that is available on open source, right? So these are the few of the things that we need to keep in mind while we are tackling with the bias in AI. If we move further, now, talking about how you can adopt the responsible AI, or how you can make sure that everything is fair. Firstly, the responsibility is on the people, right? The organizations with diverse teams do better than with ensuring diverse representation. So, if a company or a startup are, they're developing an AI product, they need to make sure that their team is diversified, so that they have a better AI model and a better pipeline, and thus they will be able to avoid bias. Because if the people are of the same gender, maybe same ethical backgrounds, or maybe same area, it might have that effect that this product would be biased. And then you have to make sure about the culture. The imbibing a culture of accountability should be very important. Teams must ensure there are ethics AI practitioners. So there are lots and lots of books out there, a lot of content out there for AI ethics and the ethical AI, artificial intelligence, and how to be fair. So we need to make sure that we have a culture of that promotes that we adopt an unbiased way of developing our AI and developing the product that we are going to use. So the teams, they need to make sure that they are able to cover all these uh, areas. Now, the design framework, having a framework that works for your team and covers the five focal points of accountability. So basically, you're making sure that the people are accountable. They know what they're doing, and they're held accountable while developing these frameworks or these products, AI products. And then the end users, you need to always make sure that the end users are kept in mind while developing a product, while developing an AI product. Um, so design thinking is the best way to do so. Surveys are good ways of getting started. And things like what the take figuring out the pain points of the end users are a good way of making sure your AI is unbiased. And see, why we're talking about this, you guys will be thinking, okay, she's talking about AI, but now she's talking about end users and their pain points. So at the end of the day, your product is going to be used by people, right? So you need to make sure that this product or the whatever you're developing has to be able to reach out to maximum people, so that they can use it easily. Your product shouldn't have to be for a specific class or for a specific group of people. It needs to make sure that everyone is included. And obviously, there are the open source tools that you can use for making sure that there is an fairness in your product. So I will move further, and I'm going to talk about these open source tools, right? So, hello.
Yes, yes.
Hashim, is it everything okay?
Yes, this is okay. I just unmuted to, I just wanted to add here. I think it would be worthwhile if we can spend more time on this tool and also the materials that the audience here can use if they're available, how can they access them, and if we can go in a little more details, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'm gonna do
Sure.
that.
Okay.
So we are talking about now. I'm going to talk about trusted AI lifecycle through open source tools. Now these are the open source tools that are available for you guys to use. My favorite one so far is AI Fairness 360. It is also available on these links. I'll be able to share these links with you, or maybe I'll share it with Hashim and he can share it with you guys. So to begin with, the robustness is the most important part, right? So for that, we use adversarial robustness 360, which is also called ART. Now, ART is basically a library dedicated to adversarial machine learning. Okay, its purpose is to allow rapid crafting and analysis of attack, defense, and detection methods for machine learning models. So basically, it is a way to make sure that your ML models are fair, right? Application domains include, you can use art in finance, self-driving vehicles, and so on and so forth. The art or the adversarial robustness toolbox provides an implementation for many state-of-the-art methods for attacking and defending classifiers, right? So basically, the toolbox has attacks, defense, and methods. Evasion attacks are something that this you can detect using the art tool, and then you can also work with defense methods. You can work with detection methods, and you can work with robustness method using the art as for your product. So again, I'll share these links with you all so that you can go ahead and take a look at them, what they are, how you can integrate them with your products. Okay, now we talk about the AI Fairness 360. So this is again one of my favorite tools. I'm actually going to conduct a hands-on workshop using AI Fairness 360 next week. Uh, I think it's not next week. It's on 20th August. I'll be sharing the link if someone is interested to learn the more deep dive and hands-on experience, how they can remove bias from their data. So I'll be able to help you out with this. So AI Fairness 360, which is also called AIF 360, is basically an open source library. It is used to help and detect. It help to detect and remove bias in machine learning bias models. What it does normally is it translates the algorithmic research from the lab into practice. So applicable domains include finance, human capital management, healthcare, and education. AI Fairness 360 is basically Python package. It includes a comprehensive set of matrices for data sets and models to test for biases. Explanations for these metrics, and algorithms to mitigate bias in data sets and models. So basically, it uses these algorithms and make sure that there is no bias in the data set, right? And then its fairness matrix, just wanted to update it here. Its fairness matrix is 70 above, right? Fairness metrics are explained, right? And bias mitigation algorithms are basically, there are 10 plus algorithms for bias mitigation. Again, I'll be sharing the link with you guys so that you can go ahead and take a look at this. Then we have AI Explainability 360, which is called AI X 360 as well. Now, this is a toolkit. Again, it is an open source library, and it is used to help to explain the AI and machine learning models and their predictions. So you can use this one, and it helps you explain that what is going on in that particular algorithm or in that particular machine learning model, and how it's going to predict. Now, this includes three classes of algorithms. Basically, they have local post hoc, they have global post hoc, and they also have directly interpretable explainers for models that use image, text, and structured and tubular data. So this can, it works on all the image data and the text data, and obviously structured and tubular form of data. Now the AI explainability 360, it also has a Python. It is also a Python package, and again it includes I remember, yeah, it includes comprehensive set of explainers. It both at global and local level. So again, it directly interprets what's going on, right? And then we have the AI fact sheet 360. It is somewhat similar than like explainability, and it works in both ways. These are the tools that you guys can use basically for if you know want to check whether your artificial intelligence product or solution is whether it was being tempered, so you can use the art. If you want to check whether it's fair or not, you can use AI fairness 360. If you want to make sure that it is easily understandable or not, you can obviously use AI explainability. And if you want to make sure that it is accountable, you need to check on AI fact sheets 360. So these are like some of the open source tools that you can use in your AI models to make sure that it is unbiased and that it is fair. So moving further, all right. So here I'm gonna briefly explain you the AI pipeline that we use normally in IBM, right? So we have Watson Knowledge Catalog here. It basically organizes and governs the data. All right. So just wanted to mention, yeah. So our portfolio, that is IBM's portfolio, has 4 key pillars, right? Now you can basically mix and match these and build solutions for different uses. It depends upon your own needs. So the first one you have is a catalog. It basically it places all your data in one place, so you understand your data and know where it is. Also, it helps clients understand who is accessing the data and control the permission. So what's the knowledge catalog? Through data profiling, quality and lineage, and also governance. It makes sure it lets you know who has the control on the data, who can access the data, who already accessed the data. So this is very helpful for that. It is organizing data for AI. It helps you with that. Now for the build part, we have Watson Studio, right? It is, basically actually wanting to look into your data. Basically, you want to prepare it, you want to build some models, or you want to build dashboards, that can give you predictive insights into your data. So this is where your Watson Studio comes in, right? It helps you with data exploration, data preparation, model development. For Watson Studio will provide you tools like Auto AI, Auto ML. It will provide you tools with SPS Modeler. SPSS Modeler. So these are where you can use Watson Studio. And then once you have obviously your models ready, you need to deploy and run them. So Watson Machine Learning is the platform that you can use for the next step, right? That is to deploy these models into production and to use the output prediction to influence business decisions. So basically, you can use this. It will help you with the retraining. It will, help you with the model management and obviously the deployment. So the last one that we have is Watson Open Scale, right? Now that you have like everything done, you would like to, have to governance. You have built your model, you have deployed it, and now you're getting the predictions of whom you should give a loan. For example, in my example, I'm trying to, build a solution where I have a solution where I want to give loan to people, right? So I have like used my data, I have built it, I have deployed it. Now I want to make sure whom, for example, if I think, for example, I'll take my own example. I am in my early 30s. I am working for IBM. I'm earning good amounts. So the machine model would say, okay, so this is the person that should be given the loan because of, she is earning good. She is, having a stable job. She is in her, in her prime time of the life. So, give her the loan. It's perfectly all right, right? But if someone is like old and they don't have a proper job, or they're retired or something, or their job is like, for example, they're working for some insurance company or something like that. So probably the model might think, okay, should we give the person the loan or not, right? So again, this is where what helps with Watson Open School. It lets you know what to do. It tells you the fairness and explainability, whether it is fair to give loan to this person or not. And then again, it helps you with the inputs for continuous evaluation, obviously. So this is what you can use IBM's catalog for your AI fair AI model development and deployment, and obviously the prediction whether you should be doing something and make sure that it is fair or not. So yeah, this is it. This is it so far from my side. Let's talk about the resources that you can use. You can go and read this McKinsey featured inside blog. It's basically an article that I personally really like. And you also have, again, as I mentioned, I have an upcoming workshop which will be identifying and remove bias from AI models. So there I'll be showing you how you can use AI 3 Fairness 360 to basically remove bias from your AI models. And you can also join us on our meetup page, that is IBM Developer Islamabad meetup. We conduct different workshops for developers. If you want to enhance your skills, these are free of cost. You don't have to pay for them. So if you want to enhance your skills, or if you want to learn more, you can go ahead and do so. And you can definitely reach out to me, and you can get connected with me on LinkedIn. You can also reach out to me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Git. And I do have some of the resources there. You can go and learn them from them. And yeah, that's it from my side. Hashim, over to you.
Thank you, Asna. That was a wonderful presentation. I specifically loved the AI pipeline slide. I think that was really where it all sort of comes together. The whole number of steps that go into writing a good code, and if you can share that again for a minute, please. So
Sure.
so that
Yes.
that that slide shows us कि अगर आप में से किसी ने AI पे काम करना है तो what's the first step? What are the tools available? Who is the possible person in industry? कि अगर मैं if I am working on the organization and the collection of data, then who is the person in the industry likely going to be doing this job? And the reason this is important is because you don't want to be doing something that you don't want to build a career on, and that's what everybody, each one of us wants. So if you look at this slide, if you want to go into building the actual models, maybe the second step is more relevant to you, or maybe if you are into the organization of data, the first step is more relevant to you. And it shows you that these are the key stages of each of these steps. And since this is from IBM, so these are the tools or technologies available out there that you can use. The reason I'm mentioning this is because if any one of you, I know most of you are from the academia side, and we are encouraging academia. In fact, this is my mission in the second half of 2021, where we are working with some of the faculty very closely to help them build these center of expertise in their universities. So just imagine if you are somebody teaching AI or machine learning or data mining or maybe data structures, and you have your whole बैच ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जो कि अब ना सिर्फ ये कि आप उनको फंडामेंटल दे रहे हैं बट दे कैन एक्चुअली गो एंड डू इट देयर हैंड्स ऑन. So if any one of you is interested, I'll be happy to help to include this in your curriculum, in your semester work. We have already run a couple of pilots and they have been successful. For example, one happened in FAST University Islamabad. So I also spoke to Dr. Arshad Ali. डॉक्टर अर्शद जो है वो पहले एचईसी में एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर थे एंड ही सॉर्ट ऑफ ब्रिंग्स इन द वेल्थ ऑफ नॉलेज जो कि हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस के अंदर करिकुलम डिजाइनिंग कोर्स वर्क इस सबको ही नोज इट प्रीटी वेल एंड आई आस्क्ड हिम कि यार क्या इज इट रियली पॉसिबल कि फैकल्टी इसको अपने कोर्स वर्क में डाल सकती है एंड ही वाज टोटली पॉजिटिव अबाउट इट सो इफ एनी वन ऑफ यू इज इंटरेस्टेड बट दे हैव क्वाल्म्स कि यार ये हो सकता है कि नहीं मुझे एकेडमिक कोऑर्डिनेटर्स या जो एकेडमिक डिपार्टमेंट है या एचईसी अलाउ करेगा कि नहीं करेगा so yes it is possible and if you're interested but you're still not sure I can set you up with Dr. Arshad and he can explain how you can do this in your own courses uh, मकसद इसका सिर्फ ये है कि जो पाकिस्तान में जो फैकल्टी है वो और जो स्टूडेंट्स है मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली वो ग्रेजुएट करने से पहले इन चीज़ों को सीख लें and then just like Asna mentioned IBM and all these technology providers are looking they're hungry for talent we have the example of Teradata here Pakistan में जो भी CS graduate होता है give this example all the time they want to go यार मेरी Teradata में job हो जाए which is fine because they pay really well but आप में से शायद कुछ लोग जानते हो टेराडेटा की हिस्ट्री क्या है the way they started is they picked up a couple of kids out of nest and they trained them on their technologies and slowly and gradually it became the center of excellence for Teradata अब वो यहाँ से उठ के पूरी दुनिया में Teradata के projects करते हैं and that's what we are hoping to achieve why can't we have a center of excellence in let's say in Watson Studio in Watson machine learning Watson is one of the core offerings of IBM IBM के जितने solutions हैं वो Watson के कहीं ना कहीं उसकी services use हो रही होती हैं तो if we can have a center of excellence for IBM since we are today focusing on IBM तो wouldn't it be great कि पाकिस्तान से लोग जाने जाने जैसे टेराडेटा के लिए जाने जाते हैं ठीक है so if any one of you is interested, just ping me. You can also reach out to me. Jafar will share the email address in the chat window. And so these are some of the things that I wanted to add to what Asna just said. In case
And
these are
I just
helpful.
want to mention here one more thing. Sorry, Hashim, I'm breaking you off. I just want to mention that Watson Studio basically provides you these different inbuilt Watson Studio के अंदर आपको जो है ना different मिलते हैं जैसे ऑटो AI है ऑटो AI का if you guys have heard about it it is widely used throughout the world जो है SPSS modeler जो है और ये भी widely use हो रहा है इनफैक्ट a lot of other cloud platforms they charge you for using these but for IBM they're not charging it it's so free of charge and you can learn and build your skills on these technologies and as Hashim said that yes these companies are hungry to have the best talent and when their tools they would more than happy to hire you because they want someone who has the experience training them from scratch and the
Yeah,
knowledge of
yeah, absolutely. I mean, spot on. So true. And what can be more important than coming from Asna herself, who represents IBM here? So yes, thank you, Asna. And with this, I think we can move on to a couple of introductions. After every sixth session, I try to go down the list of participants, and if any one of you is interested to introduce yourself to the audience, please feel free to unmute yourself and share with us your interest in AI and the institution that you're working with. I'll go down the list. I do see the first person is, of course, I'll don't I'll ask the outsider, the audience that we have really here. So the first one I see is Munazza Bibi. Would you care to unmute yourself, ma'am, and share with us your experience in AI and the institution that you belong to, please?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. I am Azza from University of Wa. Sir, actually, sir, can you hear me? आपको
Yes.
आवाज़ आती है मेरी? ओके सर सर एक्चुअली मैं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ वासी बिलोंग करती हूँ एज ए लेक्चरर मैं वहाँ पे काम करी और मेजर मेरा जो है वो डाटा माइनिंग और एआई से ही रेलिवेंट है सो ये काफ़ी हेल्पफुल रहा हमारे लिए भी और हम नेक्स्ट स्टूडेंट्स को प्रॉपरली गाइड कर पाएंगे इसके हवाले से और नोट डाउन कर ली है मैंने काफ़ी ज़्यादा चीज़ें यहाँ से जो कि मैं फर्दर अपने जो सेमेस्टर में हमारा कोर्स कंटेंट होता है उसमें एडिशनल चीज़ें बच्चों को गाइड कर सकते हैं इससे रेलिवेंट
Sure, certainly. And to all
इंशाल्लाह
of us, this is the right time. I think most of the universities इस साल उनके जो academic calendars हैं, they were haphazard because of COVID. They were all over the place, and right now semesters are going to start in late August, September. Even कुछ universities के October में भी start हो रहे हैं next semesters.
Exactly. जी जी.
So this is the right time, yes, where everybody is sort of preparing the layout of the next semester and how what's the course we're going to look like. Faculty को courses assign हो रहे हैं. So maybe this is the right time to step back and think कि मैं बच्चों के लिए क्या कर सकता हूँ, कि क्या कर सकती हूँ, कि उनको मैं कैसे ये technology से introduce करवाऊँ. So please make use of this time. And thank you, Ms. Manaza. Next we have Umar Siddiq.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम.
जी मैं उमर अहमद सिद्दीकी। जी मेरे को इसी मैं इंस्टीट्यूशन छात्र हूँ। मुझे डॉक्टर अरशद अली ने कहा था ये मीटिंग ज्वाइन करके मैं थोड़ा इंट्रोडक्शन ले लूँ, देख लूँ कि
जी.
आर्टिफिशियल की क्या क्या किस तरह मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन नॉलेज गेन होगी। मुझे काफ़ी हुई है कि बायोस ने उससे काफ़ी मैंने देखा कि काफ़ी सबसे जो है जी।
Right. Thank you. Next we have Dr. Kamar Sharif. Sir, would you care to unmute and share with us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum.
First of all, thank you, Hashim Barak Saab and Asna Javed for organizing this event. And okay, I am retired petroleum engineer. Maybe you can say I'm a domain expert, and I wanted to see and understand the fundamentals of AI, and then how it is already being used in the oil and gas business. So my objective was to just take the baby steps and see what AI in nutshell is, and what are various tools, and how we can use and make use of these tools into the oil and gas business. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sharif. So for those of you who don't know, I'll take the liberty here to say Dr. Kamar Sharif is not just a petroleum engineer. He has been the chairman of OGDCL also. And thank you, sir, for joining today. Thank you for your time. I really hope this was a value addition in your time today, and your objective was, I don't know, it was focused on bias, but I'm sure this pipeline explanation would have surely added and helped. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next we have Zoha Tasawwur Hussain. जी मिस जोहा तसव्वुर हुसैन. So with this we can. Ji, sorry, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, I'm actually a student of software engineering.
Wow, nice.
किस यूनिवर्सिटी में आप?
Yeah, so NAST में.
Right. And do you have a particular interest in AI? Do you have a subject that you've chosen?
Actually, yeah, in my FIP, the final year project, we are combining AI and blockchain together.
Oh, interesting. So if you need any help, do reach out to me. I might be able to suggest you some good use cases that you can, work with.
Yeah, thank you so much. And this was quite interesting.
Good luck for your FIP, and great to have you here.
Thank you, Zoha.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. So with this, if there's no other comment or suggestion, we can wrap up this call. The next session on AI is going to be 4 weeks from now. and we'll be focusing on new AI technologies. We do have this series that on other areas, so because everything is sort of interconnected today. I mean, if you're working on IoT, you need to worry about cybersecurity, you need to worry about the data that's going on cloud. So we do have 6 sessions happening on cloud as well, on cybersecurity as well as IoT. Next week, we're going to have the Cloud 6 session. If you're interested, you're welcome to join. Uh, I think most of you would have already signed up as faculty affiliates, so you will get emails on the invites of those sessions. But if you have not signed up, I would encourage to go to the SPINN Labs website, just Google and sign up as faculty affiliate. What that allows us to do is to share with you all the upcoming sessions and also to stay in touch with you. So with this, we can wrap up. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your time. And I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Have a good
Thank you so
evening.
much, Hashim. Have a good day.
Yes, thank you, Asna. Thank you.